Here we are, 742 Evergreen Terrace, an address we all know well. I'm sure you could draw it from memory if you tried. I can't draw, but I'm sure you could. Just picture it. You open the front door into the foyer, with the stairs going up to the bedrooms, and the living room is on your left, the one with the big open fireplace and the piano. Then, you go forwards into the TV room. This is where the couch gags happen, and where the door to the backyard is. That then leads through into the kitchen with the stylish corncob curtains over the view into the backyard and with the round breakfast table. Then forwards once more into the main dining room with the long dinner table, and then finally back out into the foyer again. Pretty simple layout, right? We've spent countless hours in all these rooms over the years, and we know them well, as we've watched their stories get told and their lives unfold. But how do we get to the basement? Whose bedroom is this? And do the Simpsons have a downstairs bathroom? Yes, they do. But I don't know where. I know it's not actually under the stairs here, as that only happened once in season 17. It's also not behind the door in the foyer, even though it was briefly in episode 5 of season 26, as anything that was done for a quick one-off joke doesn't outweigh every other time where it's clearly a closet. And I am not here to yap about continuity in The Simpsons. That's an 8-hour video I don't have the time to make. Now, whilst the downstairs bathroom hasn't appeared on screen in an episode to date, I do believe they have one, as Homer does mention having 3 bathrooms in this scene.
Well, you're going to have to make some serious cutbacks to your expenses. 3 subscriptions to Vanity Fair?
I got 3 bathrooms, don't I?
We know he has the ensuite upstairs, as well as the kids' bathroom, and most 2-story houses typically have a half bathroom downstairs. So, if anywhere, I think it's going to be somewhere down this hallway, which is conveniently where Laddie goes and flushes the toilet in the Canine Mutiny episode.
Jeez, that dog has more education than I do. He's some kind of super dog. Hey, where'd he go? Whoa!
Right, now onto the actually interesting questions. How do you get to the garage? That's right, through the garage door. Kidding. Yes, you go down the hallway and it's the first door on your right. We know this because we've seen it countless times before. The Simpsons car hole isn't all that interesting itself, apart from the little attic space it has that no one noticed until season 32, when Moe shows it to Homer after letting an Irish family live in it for a while.
What are you talking about?
There's a tiny little room above your garage that you've never noticed.
Have you ever stayed up there?
I haven't, but I did rent it out to a nice Irish family. Oh, Ma, this is the best place we've ever lived.
We only have to clean Moe's bar for 7 years, and then we get our passports back.
We'd get a few scenes in here over the years, often with story-relevant items and the occasional odd junk laying around in the background. Speaking of odd junk, how do we get to the basement from here? Is it A, behind this door in the foyer, or B, down the hardly ever seen hallway? That's right, both are correct. Kind of. Whilst it is most often shown as being a closet, the basement can occasionally be seen as behind this door. That's as, during seasons 8 and 9, the writers went through a bit of a phase of putting the basement in the foyer. However, the basement is most often seen as being down the mystery hallway. But where exactly is it down there? We know the garage is the first door on the right. We also think that there's a bathroom down here somewhere, and we know the entire left side is taken up by the Rumpus Room. That's right, the Rumpus Room. If you don't know about the Rumpus Room, don't worry. Over the 36 years The Simpsons has been running, it's only appeared on screen 13 times, 14 if you include season 1. After doing much extensive research, I can say that I have the most comprehensively accurate list of Rumpus Room sightings out there. The real Jims be damned. So let's explore the least seen corner of The Simpsons house. Now, thankfully, the Rumpus Room has some key identifying features, like the rug, this toy box, the cupboards around the window, and this Krusty the Clown height chart. So we can go through this list pretty quickly, using them to verify the scenes. I believe the Rumpus Room did appear in Season 1 during Bart the General, as you can see the chart and the toy box in the background. But honestly, for this video, I'm not counting anything from Season 1, even though in the very next episode, Bart asks about the Rumpus Room by name.
Did you try the Rumpus Room?
Rumpus Room? Great idea!
As Season 1 had a lot of weird stuff going on, and not everything was properly defined yet. And mostly because Matt Groening said in the early days he wanted the Simpsons house to feel like a maze. We get our first peek into the Rumpus Room during Season 2 when Maggie's trying to kill Homer in the garage. But it wasn't until 12 episodes later that would make the Rumpus Room famous with this scene.
Homer, it's really coming down. Could you check on the boys?
They're fine.
That scene would later get reused for a quick joke in Season 4, but before then, we would get to see it again in Season 3, briefly down the hallway in the now banned episode Stark Raving Dad, and then twice more throughout Season 3, here during Radio Bart where he's putting his name on everything, and then again in separate vocations where he's fingerprinting Maggie. We see the Rumpus Room one last time in Season 5, with episode 21 starting out in here, before it takes a decade-long break, returning in Season 15 for one episode where Homer is afraid of bears. The Berenstain Bears, that is. We would then see it twice in Season 16, as even though it's not clear, I'm certain this scene where Homer is becoming a priest from episode 10 is set in the Rumpus Room, based off the cabinets and the hoop in the background. Then, Maggie visits briefly during episode 18 to make a deposit. We would get two more scenes in the Rumpus Room during Season 17, where Marge delivers this memorable line in episode 2.
1 coconut, 2 coconuts, 3 coconuts.
Go back to your own country.
And then again when Lisa is teaching Willie to behave like a gentleman later in episode 12. It then disappears for 10 years again, only returning one last known time in Season 28, which shows us the best detail of the room's exact location yet, giving us both a shot from across the hallway in the garage while Bart is working, and then again from outside through the window when he escapes. Now, Marge mentions in Season 25 that sometimes the rec room is there and sometimes it's not. However, every time we get a shot of the house from the backyard, we can see that the Rumpus Room window is always there. I like to believe in the idea that it's used as a playroom for the kids. Bart and Lisa are too old to use it, and Maggie's too young, and they're just waiting. Or maybe she's just sleeping in there and they don't want to disturb her. Finally, I have a bonus Rumpus Room sighting from back in the old Tracy Ullman days. I think this scene is in the Rumpus Room based off the toy box alone. So that explains just about everything regarding the Rumpus Room, but back to where do we put that basement door? Honestly, after watching 36 seasons of the show, I still don't know for certain, as the house doesn't have anywhere architecturally that makes sense to put basement stairs. If I was building a house, I would say to put them under the main stairs, as they are sometimes shown to be like that. But that would put the basement door right in the middle of the kitchen, and we know that's just not right. So squeezing them between the dining room and the garage, like in Homer's Enemy, would make the most sense to me, even if it's not what we see down that hallway in most episodes. Most fan recreations of the house I've seen put the stairs at the end of the hallway, and I get why they do this, but I know that's not right, as I acquired the actual floor plans that were used by the showrunners from at least 1990, and unsurprisingly, there is no basement door or downstairs bathroom on them at all, so it makes sense why the writers make up the missing details sometimes. Now, once you find your way down here, you might not actually find what you came looking for, as the contents of the basement usually changes depending on the episode or joke. There are often some interesting items and references hidden in the background if you look hard enough though. The Simpsons basement can be quite an interesting space. In fact, Marge even once found a whole sauna room hidden down here whilst cleaning one time. And even the mysterious cellar doors have been shown less often than the Rumpus Room has. Alright, that covers just about everything interesting downstairs. But, quickly, before we head upstairs, I want to just take a brief moment to thank today's sponsor, the subscribe button. I'm way too small to get any real sponsors, so it'd be sick if you could click that shiny subscribe button for me. Looking at this image, Can you tell whose bedroom is whose and where the kid's bathroom is? Is Maggie's room down at the end of the hall, or is it across from Bart and Lisa? Well, looking at the original floor plans once again, we can see that the official layout is supposed to be like this, with Homer and Marge on the left, Lisa next to them, Bart next to her, and Maggie is at the end of the hall, and most of the time that is what we see it as. However, the layout of the bedrooms change depending on what the joke is, or what they need the characters to do in the scene. Maggie's room and the bathroom are the most commonly swapped around, as we don't often need these rooms for the story. I just imagine they're behind whatever door we can't see at the time. Bart and Lisa's rooms swap around less often, but still happens. For example, Lisa wants to get rid of her Malibu Stacy toys. She gets the room at the front of the house. Need Bart to see that he's running late and missing the school bus, or watch what's going on in the front yard? Now his bedroom is at the front of the house. Need him to fall out of the window when the house shifts? Suddenly he's on the left side. Need him to spy into the Flanders backyard after missing out on the pool? Well, now his room is somewhere else. Actually, anytime the Flanders house gets involved, it makes the layout a bit messy. The Flanders house is to the left of the Simpsons, with the parents' bedroom across from it, and the only window that faces that way is in the ensuite, except for when Homer needs to do this joke in Lisa's Day with Density. Or when Bart, whose room we know is on the opposite side, somehow manages to kick off his shoes and have them land inside the Flanders house. And then when he plays a prank with his radio from the Rumpus Room earlier. Like in My Sister, My Sitter, Bart's room changes places 3 times throughout the episode. He starts with a room at the front of the house in Act 1 to watch Lisa arrive home. In Act 2, after going to Bread, his room is now next to his parents. And in Act 3, after breaking his arm, it's at the front of the house where the bathroom is meant to be. And then Lisa climbs on a non-existent tree in the front yard? Yeah, My Sister, My Sitter is a bit of a mess of an episode, so maybe it's not the best example. Oh, we can't forget about Hugo's room, but I don't have any fish heads, so we're not going to go up there. Okay, so what's the point of all of this then? Now again, I'm not here to point out every little continuity issue with the show, as I believe the writers being able to cheat a little bit for the joke is way more important. And having the flexibility to cheat a little, especially with the more poorly defined spaces like the basement and the garage hallway, is a good thing. And most of the time, I bet you don't even notice the cheats. As when the writers bend the rules like this, there's often a good reason why. If a joke works better with the rooms flipped around or a door added under the main stairs, then they take the approach to just make it happen and not get hung up on the details. They do manage to keep the main areas downstairs pretty consistent and cheat in such a way that makes sense while watching, so we just accept it even if it isn't canon. Honestly, yeah, if Homer can afford a 4-bedroom, 2-story house with 3 kids and 2 cars, all from occasionally working at the power plant, then yeah, there is probably something wrong with the house somewhere. And if a room disappears every now and again, or you can't find your way to the basement, it's not the biggest deal. Alright, so now we know everything about the Simpsons house, why not watch my previous video here about how current era Simpsons is making a comeback?